two angles that we need to put on this part. And I'm going to do this. There's numerous methods of doing this, but I think the easiest is to create a sketch and create a line, basically a line in your sketch that represents this location. I don't know what the angle is, but I know the location of this point and I know the location of that point. So in the sketch on that far side surface, I can create a line and then use that line to define my plane and create my own reference plane using this line and this point and this point. And mathematically you can create or define a plane using 3 points or a line and a point. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to Sketch again, and I'm going to select the Sketch tool, and instead of selecting a plane, I'm going to actually select this surface here. And notice it takes me into Sketch again. It says it's editing Sketch 2, a new sketch, not Sketch 1. Sketch 1 is right over here under the Extrude Boss base. And there's Sketch 2. It also tells me that I'm in Sketch because I have my, I'm also in the Sketch ribbon right here. So now, even though I'm in Sketch, it's not rotated normal to the screen or perpendicular to your view. So I'm going to use this View tool right here and come down here and select this normal to, and it will rotate me to that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. I'm in Sketch, select line, and I'm going to snap to this point right here, and make sure you snap. You get that orange mark and snap and bring it up here and make sure the line turns orange, and you get that little yellow box that shows the two lines intersecting. That again is your coincident. That means that once you create that line, you can drag the line anywhere along there, but you can't move it up and down. It has to stay on that line, this horizontal line. Then all you have to do is use your smart dimension and select this point and this point, and according to the drawing, that's 50 millimeters, so type in 50. And now it's fully constrained. It's locked in here, locked in there, and I can exit my sketch, and I can come over here and rotate my view to isometric, and now I have the geometry required to define a plane. So I'm going to go to Features tab, and over here under Reference Geometry I'm going to select the down arrow, and there's a plane. And now the plane, there's numerous ways of defining a plane, but one, as I mentioned before, is to select a line. And now it represents a plane there, but the plane's not done. It could actually rotate 360 degrees around that line. So if I select a point that is on that plane, it will help define or lock down that entire plane. So I'm going to click right there, and now I'm done with my plane. All I have to do is select the green button, and my plane is done. And notice I have plane 1 in my history tree there. Now I have the plane that I can use to slice. So I'm going to go up to this expanding drop-down toolbar and go to Insert, Features, Split. And this is kind of a tricky tool. There's a bunch of buttons to push, but it doesn't really tell you what buttons to push, other than if you read the message, select a sketch. Well, it already knows what sketch or plane that's going to use to slice. And click Cut Part to perform split. So there's your cut part, and it split the part. There's part 1 and part 2. And we want to select, there's part 1. That's the part we actually want to get rid of. So we're going to select part 1, put a check mark in it, and then we want to make sure that it says Consume Cut Bodies. If it's not checked, make sure it's checked. That means it will disappear. That body will disappear. And there we have our cut part. Next step is we need to actually cut another plane. We show this part again. We need to show this angle right here. And you could do the math and find out what that angle is. I don't know what the angle is, but I do know several things. Number one is that it is also, it starts here and comes across here. So I can just create a geometry that locks it down at this point, and then cut it across over to here and lock it down at that distance. And then I can use that line to project another point to create my slice. So let's Go ahead and do that. Your view is going to be looking straight down, so on this part. So I'm going to go ahead and select Sketch, Sketch, and I'm going to select the very top. It doesn't matter as long as it's parallel. Okay, now I'm in the sketch, but once again it's not normal to your view, so I'm going to come over here and rotate it normal to my view. There we go. And now I need to create the sketch. And if we look at this drawing, this actually from this point to this line that is 45 millimeters from this edge is the line we want to create. So I'm going to create a line. I'm going to snap, see if we can, snap to this point, and if it's not there we may have to project the geometry. Let's take a look here. Rotate it a little bit better. There we go. I did normal. Now I can snap to that, and I'm going to snap to this line right here. Escape, Smart Dimension. I'm going to snap at that point to this edge, and I'm going to go 45. Wow, and that's not much of a distance there. So that is fine. So now I'm going to exit the sketch, and I'm going to go to Rotate to Isometric, and I don't really like that view right there. I'm going to grab that. Okay, so now I have my line, and I'm going to go back to Features and Reference Geometry Plane, and I'm going to select my line, and now I need another point that I know is going to be lying on that plane but not on that line. And if I actually projected this straight down to there or straight down to here, I don't know that location, but I do know that this point is directly above that. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and that locks in my plane. And I can verify this by going to my Rotate and take a look at this. I guess we're going to have to create our plane first, so I'm going to select the plane. There we go. So that point right there, they fall on top of each other when you're looking straight down. So that's good. We're good. Now I want to go back to Isometric. And now I need to use a Slice tool again. So I'm going to go to the drop-down menu, Insert, Features, Split. I call it Slice, but it's a split tool. It recognizes, it's going to select face 1. So we need to actually delete that and select this plane right there. We want to make sure that plane 2 or sketch 3 is in there. So that should work. We want to cut part, and it shows us part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is what we want to get rid of, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. You can make sure you have a checkbox in there and consume body and select that, and there we have our angle. Now it's cut in there right, but that just does not look quite right. So let's just go back and edit sketch 1. And to go back into that sketch, we need to say, if this has a plus sign right there, I'm going to select that, and it brings up sketch 1. I'm going to right click, and there's edit sketch. And so we're 30. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that dimension right there. And I'm going to add another dimension. I'm going to go from here to here. And then notice I'm selecting two different entities. It'll give me a distance. And it says it's 60, and that's wrong. That's why it looks funny. That's actually supposed to be 80. There we go. It's still fully constrained. Select it, and now look what that looks a little bit more correct. And notice everything stays intact because it is parametric. Parametric again means that everything is associated. The geometry is associated.